And welcome back to another Paul's Aquariums unboxing video. I am Paul, this is Paul's Aquariums, aquarium shop in Brisbane, Australia for the last 26 years. We can unbox a lot of awesome fish for ponds and aquariums. I think there's tropical stuff, cold water stuff, temperate stuff, which is sort of in between cold water and tropical, and all sorts of really cool fish. First bag, and oh, they are black, they have little white dots. They must be peppermint because nothing says peppermint like black with white dots. I have no idea why they call these peppermint bristlenose, but these are peppermint bristlenose. They're a South American catfish. They're one of those little sucker mouth catfish that eats all the algae and stuff in your tank, but these are like a flash version. The normal ones are brown or white or have big feathery fins and stuff. These are black with little tiny white dots on them. They're going to get a decent size. They're going to get 15, 18 centimeters max, which is a pretty big chunky sucker fish, but not like giant, like big plecos and that. They are pretty awesome little tropical fish. So from South America, you want to keep them between 22 and 28 degrees Celsius. They like their pH below 7, so slightly acidic water, slightly soft water, which is low mineral content and stuff like that. They don't breed as easy as what your normal bristlenose do because of the water hardness and the minerals and stuff like that. So if you want to breed these, you want to alter your water hardness to have successful batches of babies. But they are really, really awesome fish, do well in community tanks. As I said, get a decent size, but they're not really a type of fish that hunts down little fish like tetras and that and attacks them or anything like that. So they will sort of scavenge dead and dying fish. So if you have a fish laying on the bottom which is half dead, unfortunately, RIP little fishy, these will come along and munch away on them. Which sounds kind of horrifying, but they're sort of a scavenger cleanup crew type thing. So in saying that as well, algae eaters, but they do like higher protein in their diet, like little tropical wafers and stuff like that. But we have awesome little peppermint bristlenose back in. That's a good first start. Yay. And these are awesome. Okay, so these are an awesome Indonesian fish. These are clown loaches, which I don't know why they call them clown loaches. They probably call them clown loaches because when they get bigger, and these will get about 30-40 centimeters, they get huge, but it takes a long, long time. They sort of lie on their side and clown around, I guess, because clowns aren't really orange with black stripes, are they? Again with the names. Okay, we're going to try and not decipher why the name of every one of these fish is what it is, because it makes no sense, does it? But clown loaches, awesome fish. These are a tropical fish, again, just from the other part of the world, which isn't South America, which is the other part of the world, Indonesia. There you go, cut. But they're a schooling fish. You want to have a nice group of like 3 or more of them. They will hide a lot if you don't have a lot of them in your tank, but once you have like 3 or more, they're going to be out and about. Feeding time, they'll be all over the tank, but they will get a decent size. So they do get 30-40 centimeters, but it takes them like 10-20 years to mature and get that size. So it's not going to be an instant thing from a little tiny 5 centimeter one like this to a big monster. So this sort of size, they're okay with tetras and barbs and so on and so on. As they mature and they get bigger, they're going to eat things like neon tetras, guppies, all the smaller little tiny fish, because these guys and girls are going to come out at night while all your tetras are sleeping on the bottom and they're just going to accidentally get inhaled. So if you've got clown loaches in your tropical tank and wonder where all your little fish are going, as these get bigger, that's where all the little fish are going, inside the clown loaches. But otherwise, awesome looking fish, lovely big fish. You can keep them with South American cichlids, Central American cichlids, all that sort of thing. Now their water quality in the wild ranges from 6.5 all the way up to 7.5, and then it goes back down again. So they don't really like the water above 7.5 pH, and temperature wise, anything from 22 to 26 degrees, they will be fine. Awesome schooling cool fish, which looks like a catfish, but it's not. It's a loach, which is like a catfish. Next. And we're back into South America. We have these little guys and girls, which are Glowlight Tetras. Okay, Glowlight Tetras stay small, so things like the clown loaches will eventually eat them. They are going to max out around about that sort of 3 centimeters, 3.5 centimeters max. Awesome little things. They have a brown body, but they have a fluorescent orange stripe to them. So if you have them in a normal community planted tank, those bright little orange stripes are going to be extremely noticeable. You can keep them with guppies, tetras, all sorts of stuff. pH wise, anything from 6 to 7, and temperature wise, anything from 22 to 26 degrees Celsius. They will be fine. Schooling fish again, like the barbs and I was going to say the Barbs. We haven't even seen Barbs yet. There might be Barbs in there. There probably is Barbs. Like Barbs and like the Loaches. So you want to keep a group of 5 or 6 or more of these little guys and girls, and they'll be a lot happier. If you only got a couple of them, they're going to sort of dart around and wonder where all their mates are and generally freak out. So that's why you want to have groups of them, because they're going to have more natural behavior and generally going to look a lot nicer in a tank if you've got a group of 5 or 10 or what have you. But we have awesome little Glowlight Tetras. Yay. Another Southeast Asian fish, we have Gouramis. Now Gouramis are pretty cool, and these are honey dwarf gourami, which we haven't had for a while. Honey dwarf gouramis, they've got that honey color, I suppose. Okay, I said I wasn't going to do this, but yes, that's what honey looks like, isn't it? No, it's not. Okay, they are a lovely golden yellow color, and they have that awesome orange on the tail. These are going to max out around about 5 centimeters, so not overly huge, not like all the other bigger gouramis you see, and obviously not the giant gouramis that you see and stuff like that. So these are awesome for community tanks. You need about 30-40 liters for one of them. As I said, they only max out that big, but they like to live in the top of the tank where all the floating plants are. Quiet areas, they don't like a lot of circulation, and they breathe through the surface like all other gouramis do. So they will survive low oxygen. They like the water a little bit warmer, so you want your water temperature anything from 25 to 30 degrees Celsius for these, and anything pH wise 6.5 to 7 is perfectly fine. Not a schooling fish, you can have one, you can have a group of them. They do well with tetras and all that sort of stuff. Nice peaceful fish, nothing too big that's going to harass them or anything like that. And they've got their 2 little whiskery feeler things underneath them, which sort of just, because they are on the surface all the time, because they're on the surface all the time, their little tiny whiskery things dart around to see where things are, if fish come up and stuff like that. Whiskery things. Little awesome fish with whiskery things. Next, jumping to South America again. Okay, so these are, what are these? These are another Tetras. Oh, these are pretty awesome Tetras. These are whitefin Ornate Tetras. Very pretty fish. They're going to get a decent size, about sort of 20-cent piece size, so about 4.5 centimeters on average. These are only little, but you can see they're really nice dorsal fins. So they have a sort of a peachy color to them with white dorsal fins and little white tips on their tail on that. So really, really pretty Tetras. Again, from South America, super peaceful, 22 to 26 degrees Celsius and pH 6.5 to 7, they will be fine. Schooling, so again, a group of them, 5 or 6 or more of those, they will go really, really well. But if you want something a little bit bigger than sort of Glowlight Tetras and stuff, these are the one to go for, because they're going to get a decent size, nice schooling fish, look awesome in a planted tank. They're technically going to get big enough that clown loaches are not going to try and harass them unless your clown loaches are absolutely massive, massive things that inhale everything. Yeah, these will be fine with them, but really, really cool Tetras if you want a slightly different South American Tetra. Whitefin Ornates. And more gouramis, but these are super tiny little Licorice Gouramis. So these come from Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, that sort of area. Very, very small, pretty little fish. And again, no idea why they're called Licorice Gouramis. They are kind of browny black. It's the black stripes on them, which look like licorice strips. I'm sure that's why they look like that. Don't taste like licorice. Make a wish, lick it, licorice. They are pretty awesome little fish. So these are kind of weird because they will live in really acidic areas. They come from places where there's a lot of decomposing plant material and stuff like that. So pH wise, they can survive down to like 3.5, so extremely acidic. They don't really like the pH above 6.5 or so, so you want to keep them a little bit more acidic than a lot of other fish. Obviously above 7, they're not really going to be quite happy with life, but very small, delicate little fish that max out, again, that like 3 centimeters or so. Very colorful. You want to keep them in a black water tank, so peat moss, tannic acid, stuff like that from driftwood, and they will go really, really well. They also like the temperature nice and warm, so you want to keep your temperature anything between 25 degrees and 30 degrees Celsius again, and they will be fine. Little awesome licorice dwarf gouramis. Well, they're not really a dwarf gourami, licorice gouramis, but they are a gourami and they're dwarf size, so licorice dwarf gouramis. There we go. Oh, another Asian fish. These are super common, really awesome fish, but these are the long fin golden version of a Zebra Dino. I had to look there and go, What are they? They're zebra Danios. So your normal zebra Danios are sort of silver with blue stripes. These are the exantic or albino version, which means that they lose all the browns and stuff. So they are an awesome, awesome yellowy orange color. Nice metallic silver stripes to them, and they're the long fin version. So the long fin version just makes them have big, long, flowing fins, look really, really cool. These are always on the move. These are a temperate fish as well, so they're going to survive anything from like 10 degrees all the way up to like 30 degrees Celsius. pH-wise, 6.5 to 7.5, so they have a huge range of temperatures and pHs. Schooling as well, so you want to keep a nice group of like 5 or 6 of these. They're going to max out around that sort of 5 centimeters, so not overly big. You can keep them with tetras, barbs, all that sort of stuff. They'll spend most of their time in the middle and the top of the tank. Obviously they'll come down to the bottom to be fed and that, but always on the move. Really showy, pretty awesome fish, and these look like decent boys and girls. Decent size. These are probably half grown, so they're going to get double that size again. Really pretty, easy fish if you want something super, super cool for your tank. Awesome. Another Asian barb. Okay, now we have a lot of rosy barbs, but these are the neon chili rosy barbs. And neon chili rosy barb is just, oh, they are really pretty in the bag. Okay, these go bright metallic red, hence the chili part of them. So rosy barbs are a temperate fish, so again, they're going to survive anything from 10 degrees up to like about 30 degrees. pH-wise, 6.5 to 7.5 as well, even maybe a little bit more alkaline, because they have a huge range in the wild, sort of like a lot of the Australian native rainbow fish. They'll survive cold, warm, low pH, high pH, as long as there's no sudden changes or jumps or anything like that. Really, really colourful fish, super bright. Only problem with these is they are a little bit nippy, so you don't want to keep them with long flowing fins, or any fish like goldfish that are big, slow and moving, because they're going to harass and nip at them. But they're okay with most rough and tumble smaller cichlids, barbs, stuff like that, decent sized tetras, and you'll be fine. Awesome, awesome fish. Yeah, they're fine with a lot of rainbow fish as well, but neon rosy barbs back in stock. And really, really cool fish. Yeah, they're nice. You should come in and get some of these. Okay, Bolivian butterfly rams. So these are sort of like your ram cichlid from South America, or they're a type. These are a different species. They're Bolivian butterflies, and they are a decent size too. Okay, this is a good unboxing, because usually when these come in, they're super, super tiny. Now, there's like a ram cichlid, but they have really nice pastel colors to them. Get a little bit bigger, so about sort of 6 centimeters on average, where your rams are like 4 to 5 centimeters. So a little bit bigger, a little bit chunkier, easy to breed. They're a typical cichlid where the male and the female looks after the eggs and grows the fry up. So you will get some of them survive in a community tank. If you've got a tank like bigger than 60 litres for a pair of these, they expect them to have babies if you have a male and a female, and expect them to raise the babies eventually. Very, very cool fish if you want to sort of have something easy to breed in a tank with tetras and stuff like that, that you may potentially get babies from. Awesome, awesome little fish, obviously from South America. So they're going to range in temperature from 20 degrees all the way up to about 26, 28 degrees Celsius. And pH-wise, 6.5 to 7 is a good range for them. Really, really nice little fish. And yeah, they'll get bigger than this, probably about half that size again. But we can tell males and females, and they're pretty. So there you go, good time to get some of these as well. We have more Danios. Okay, these are a different species than the zebra Danios, well, the long fin golden zebra Danios that you saw. So these are pearl Danios or blue Danios. They've got a really nice iridescent bluish sheen to them, and they have that cool sort of reddy orange bits and pieces on the fins as well. So again, a schooling fish. These don't like it as cold as the normal zebra Danios or the longfin golden zebra Danio that you just saw, which is the same fish but different shape. So these you want to keep between 20 degrees and about 28 degrees Celsius, anything pH-wise again from 6.5 to 7.5, and they will be fine. Schooling fish, so get a group of 5 or 6 or more of these, and they've got those cool little whiskers on each side of their face when they hunt food down, like they smell food in the food? No, wait, they smell food in the tank. Their little whiskers shoot out, and you can actually see them all wondering where the food is, and generally awesome little fish. So as soon as food goes in, they just go crazy and go everywhere. But if you want something that looks like a mini blue trout, they kind of look like a mini blue trout, get some of these for your community tank, because they are a pretty awesome little community fish. Awesome. Here I am using all the describing words. But we have some more cherry shrimp. So these are Neocaridina or red cherry shrimp, originally from China mountain streams. Now they're kind of weird for shrimp because they like the water more acidic than more alkaline, but they will live in anything from a pH of 6.5 to 7.5 on average. Prefer the water slightly below 7 ideally, and these are the red version. So in the wild they're sort of a brownie color, but they've line bred them over the years to have red ones, blue ones, yellow ones, all sorts of different colors. These are just your standard red cherry shrimp. Most fish will eat these, unfortunately. So a lot of videos on YouTube say, oh, top 10 fish to go with your shrimp. But those top 10 fish, like 8 out of the 10 of them will hunt down the shrimp. And shrimp don't like to be eaten. So ideally you want to keep these with really small Microraspora and little Pygmy Corydoris and super tiny fish that aren't really going to harass them or anything like that. Because even guppies and neons are going to pick at them, and shrimp don't like to be picked at. Nothing really likes to be picked at. So awesome little fish. Well, they're not fish. Awesome little shrimp. They will survive anything from like about 10 degrees up to about 25 degrees or so. They don't like the temperature above 30, so you want to keep them sort of in that cooler range. Ideally 20-22 would be the ideal range, and pH just below 7, and you can't go wrong with awesome red cherry shrimp. Oh, one of our favorites. Again, these are a Southeast Asian fish. They are pretty little fish. So most barbs are nippy, like the Rosy barbs and tiger barbs and so on, but these are not. These are super peaceful barbs. I think last week we had longfin ones, or the week before, or something like this. These are the standard everyday normal cherry barbs. Males go a bright red cherry color, females are sort of a bronzy color, but if you have males and females together, the males just absolutely glow and look super awesome. They're going to max out about 3.5 centimeters on average, maybe 4 centimeters, and they're going to go perfectly fine with guppies, neons, all those nice peaceful community fish. pH 6.5 to 7, temperature 22 to 26, and they will be fine. It's an all-round awesome little bright red fish that stays nice and small. It's not going to get any bigger than that 4 or 5 centimeters max sort of thing. Very pretty, very awesome. If you want something bright and red for your community tank, go for these because they are really nice. And there's not many fish that are as bright red as these and super peaceful. You can keep a group of them and they will be super happy in your tank. And last bag in this box, we have Bumblebee Gobies. Okay, these are from Indonesia, Malaysia, places like that. They are a brackish water little goby that stays about sort of 2.5, 3 centimeters max. Bumblebee stripes. So these are called Bumblebee Gobies because they actually look like a bumblebee. Yay! No licorice, no weirdness, no peppermints. There's a lot of food describing animals. I suppose you could eat bumblebees if you're really that way inclined. Don't eat bumblebees because that's disturbing. I don't even think we have bumblebees in Australia. Well, we don't up here in the tropics or subtropics. Maybe down south you have bumblebees. If you do have bumblebees and you live in Australia, comment down below because that'd be interesting. Maybe they have them down south. I'm not entirely sure, but no bumblebees up here, which is kind of sad. Anyway, they are the color of a bumblebee, but they don't sting. They are small. Brackish water means between fresh and salt, so they prefer a little bit of salt in the water. pH-wise, anything from 7 to 8, so they don't like the water below 7. Very peaceful little fish, but they are very hard to feed because they only eat defrosted frozen worms, shrimp, so frozen brine shrimp, frozen bloodworms. Sometimes you can get them on soft pellets like the Vitalis pellets and stuff like that, but they don't really eat flake food. They prefer live worms and so on and so on. They're not a schooling fish, but they do better in groups. They will breed in snail shells and they have really weird sort of greeny colored eggs. Very cool little fish. If you want something small to breed for a little tank, you can have a group of these, and they're just completely different than a lot of other common fish that you get for community tanks. Not overly expensive, so on average they're under $10, usually about $5 to $7 on average to give you an idea of price as well. But if you keep them tropical, anything from 22 to 26 degrees and slightly neutral to alkaline, well, neutral to alkaline water, they will do really well. A little bit of salt, they'll go anything from full fresh to full salt. So just add a little bit of salt and maintain a steady salinity and your nitrifying bacteria will be fine. But we have Bumblebee Gobies back in. Awesome little fish and a great fish to end in. Not really the last fish in this video though, because last week we had a whole lot of Senegals that I brought in from home, which are Senegal Birchir or Birchir as I love to call them. awesome fish, look like a dinosaur, but they're not a dinosaur, obviously, because we don't breed dinosaurs, unfortunately. Well, we breed lace monitors, they're kind of like a dinosaur. But they're a fish that looks really, really bizarre. They're going to max out about that sort of 30 centimeters or so. The ones that we did have last week, which all sold out, were only about 8 to 10 centimeters. They retail for $100 Australian, which sounds ridiculously expensive for the rest of the world. But here, it's not that bad because we breed them ourselves. Well, I breed them myself because there's only one of me. Anyway, we breed them ourselves. I have brought more of them in, so if you do want some of these, I have limited numbers because I do want to grow some of my babies up at home and see what they look like when they're mature as opposed to sell them all. I know, breed fish? Why would you want to keep them? No, no, no. But I have more of those available, so contact me on social media or comment down below. Give the shop a ring tomorrow. The details are somewhere here. Paul's Aquariums in Brisbane, and we can tell you how many are left. But awesome, awesome Senegal Birchir. I'm only going to have a few more after this as they sort of mature and get to a decent size because I do want to keep some, obviously. Anyway, that was this video. If you did enjoy this video, click the thumbs up so I know and the algorithm knows and all that wonderful stuff. If you've got any questions about any of the fish in this video, comment down below. I can get back to you. And we will see you in the next video. And thank you very much to all my members. Bye.